So we're now trying to figure out how we can actually modify strengthening exercises, weightlifting exercises or resistance exercises in order to cater to the person's ability, make it harder or easier. So there are two situations. Sometimes, let's say for example, if you want to train the shoulder abductors, so the shoulder abductors, mainly the deltoids, it's actually attached to your humerus right onto here, and obviously the joint that's rotating is your shoulder joint right over here. Now, if we were to train the deltoids, the shoulder abductors, we will get them to actually do this sort of action, which is shoulder abduction. In order to increase the resistance and therefore make the muscle stronger, all we do is we give them a weight. So pretend that this little pouch that I have is a weight. So I would then put it and hold it like this, straighten my arm and lift it up. So that's one way to do it. So then there's a second way of doing it is to shift the entire pouch across and nearer to where the joint is. So imagine now I've shifted the pouch nearer to the shoulder joint itself, and I get them to do this particular exercise like this. Okay, now which do you think will be easier? When the weight is near to the end of the limb, or when the weight is much in the middle and much more closer to the shoulder joint? Have a think. I hope you have figured it out. Now before we know that, we need to first think about where are the moments that is actually occurring. So when we are doing a shoulder abduction like this, we've got the weight of the entire upper limb, and the center of mass of the upper limb is somewhere around here, and therefore it exerts a force downwards. So it exerts a force downwards, and therefore it's rotating this direction. There is a moment that's going down here around the shoulder joint. When we actually put a weight, what happens is we contribute to that moment downwards. So we're not just thinking about the weight of the upper limb, but we're also thinking about the addition of this particular weight and creating an additional moment. Now, in order for us to strengthen the muscles, the shoulder abductors will need to overcome these two moments, which is the weight of the upper limb that's going down and also the additional weight that the person is holding. So we know that the shoulder abductors with the deltoid attaches itself somewhere around here, okay, around the somewhere on the humerus around here. So there is that perpendicular distance that we need to consider, and therefore it creates a, from your perspective, a clockwise moment, whereas the weight of the upper limb and the resistance weight goes in a anti-clockwise moment. Now, when we are holding the weight near the end of our upper limb, around my hands area, because now the weight, in terms of the force generated by the weight itself, it remains the same. However, the distance is much longer than if we were to have it somewhere in the middle, and therefore this creates a larger moment. Therefore, the muscles will need to work harder, the abductors, shoulder abductors will need to work harder in order to overcome this larger moment, which is why it is much harder when you have the weight towards the end of the lever arm as compared to when the weight is in the middle. Right, I hope you figured it out.